Hello everyone, Man here. Today we are going to look into the game Auto Brawl Chase. In this video we will look into the various combos that we can use in the battle, but before that we should understand what each of the classes and factions do. So to do that, I will go to that menu from where you can access all the factions individually. I'll not go for any rarities, and irrespective of the equipment, which also grants some powers to the extra buffs to the stats. I'll ignore those. I'll just talk about the individual factions and classes. So let's jump into it. Okay, so the very first thing is that when you start the game, you get a hero from the Empire faction, and thus you tend to get a lot of those, and you also get to level them up pretty fast, and slowly you get to unlock these various things, and as you go forward in the game you unlock all these things. So let's first look into this. The Empire faction. You see here, enemies die when their health is less than 70%. Now that means that if an enemy has 100 health, then basically when they are on the battlefield and you have this, and you have 8 Empire faction cards on board, they trigger this effect and their health actually turns to 30. So after you do 30 damage to them, the next damage takes their health below 70% and thus they die instantly. So this is the Empire faction. And then the next one is the Undead faction. The Undead faction, when activated alongside the Empire faction, works great. This is why, because if we take a look at the last one, it says that all enemies lose 33% of their current health per second. The next thing is that what we'll talk about is that now at present we are having an event in the game which lets you get some coins for by playing the Drifter faction. Now let's take a look at the Drifter faction, because that is pretty cool too. If you can manage to put 6 different Drifter faction cards on your board, then what you do is all enemies lose 300 armor, and also that allows your heroes or your cards to deal more damage to the opponent. You will be also noticing that there are certain icons called classes, and those appear on the right side or at the top of the head of each of your card. Now let's take a look at the Empire faction, because if you are targeting the Empire faction combo, then obviously you need to understand that whatever card that you place down on your board, they also have that class, and activating a class combo is also pretty good. Now let's take a look at the first one here. This is Soaring. Now that does what? It decreases the attack speed of all the enemies by 20% and then by 50% if you get to put down 4 of them on the board. The next one is Mage. What mages do: allies additionally accumulate 10 energy per second. So that energy thing, accumulating the energy thing, is basically like accumulating mana, that helps you to trigger these kind of skills. Next one is Guardians. Now this Guardians does what it actually increases all allies gain plus 250 armor. It is just like countering the Drifter faction. Now if you have them activated on your side of the board, then basically what you're doing, you are decreasing or kind of crippling your enemies, and at the same time you are empowering yourself. So these are the things that you can get, but that does not mean that you will not get the ones which you haven't yet activated or got from the hero drop. Obviously you will get them, but the problem is that they are not leveled up. They are not leveled up, and that levels also do count. The next very important thing is the levels of each of your cards. You see that the levels actually increase the stats of your cards, and I'll show you during the match how they make the difference. Now levels also determines the power of your cards that you have deployed during the match. I'll show you how the shop works, because that is also very interesting and a very important part of your gameplay.